Good.
We are good to go. Yep.
Good to go. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another week of BFM Breakdown. Today, we'll talk about that we've really touched on before, and that's asymmetric fighting, right? Like knowing what kind of fight that you want to choose to be in and how to force it, right? I mean, one of the first things you need to do is recognize, hey, what's my plane good at, right? If it's pulling a lot of nose, right, like it has a lot of pitch authority, and it's not retaining its speed that well, or maybe when you're holding your speed, it's got a super wide, really slow circle. It's like, okay, yeah, you know what? Maybe it's a one circle fighter, right? Like it likes operating very, very slow, and in very tight circles. Whereas if you have something that doesn't pull nearly as much pitch, maybe holds on to its speed a little bit better, it has smaller and faster circles. It's like, okay, this is an energy fighter, right? A rate fighter. So let's get into it. Let's talk about, forcing your fight. Hello, MP.
Asymmetric fighter, just get a mirror.
Okay, thank you. All right, Falcon, go ahead and press play for us, please. All right, so MiG-29 versus F-15, right? As usual, we're assessing everything in our first turn, right? Go ahead. You'll see the pause point there. Falcon, pause now. So, first thing I'm looking at, right? Like we merged vertical with our guy, right? Like me being in the MiG and my opponent being in the F-15, I'm like, okay, he's going to want to go to lag pursuit. He's going to want to go into the two-circle fight, right? Whereas I'm in a MiG, I've got much better pitch authority. I can sit in tighter circles for a lot longer. I've got a better lift, a little less drag. I want to go for the one circle. So that first thing, right? We go up. We're trying to merge nose to nose off the bat, trying to force that fight that we want, right? Like the sooner you can force it your way, the better off you're going to be. If that makes sense to anybody, right? Like, the sooner that you can gain an advantage on somebody, the easier it's going to be a lot for you, right? Like, if we went nose to tail, he held on to his speed. I don't have that much. He's going to have an easier time, right? But here we are, nose to nose. From here, I'm looking up at his plane, right? So my lift vector is sitting just behind him, right? And a lot of you probably like, oh, if you want to go into the scissors of the one circle, right? Why you got your lift vector behind him? I'm like, well, it's only the first turn and we're pretty neutral right now, right? I'm looking up at him and I got a pretty wide-ish silhouette, right? I'm seeing burner, but I'm also seeing nose. We're fairly neutral here, right? So I'm setting myself up for that next turn, right? This is a part of follow-on BFM. I know oftentimes when we talk about follow-on BFM, we're talking about, oh, we've already won the fight, right? And we're sitting like in somebody's assessment window or sitting in their control zone and they're trying to give us range, aspect, and closure problems, right? Like they do a break turn over here and then you just follow them, right? Well, follow on BFM is also, planning ahead. You could be neutral just like this and still do follow on BFM. It's like, okay, I'm here and I want to, I want to match this image. I want to be nose to nose with this guy on our next turn, right? So how am I going to do that? Oh, I'm going to plan ahead, right? If he goes down, I'm going to keep my lift vector out in front of him and cut into the circle, follow him down, right? Or maybe they're going to go vertical. It's like, oh, okay, cool. If they're going to continue vertical, maybe I'll reverse my turn again, or even just slightly, right, offset my lift vector and pull in with him right as he's coming down. Small things like that. Go ahead and play, Falcon. So in this instance, right, I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to follow him on this first turn, right? And see where it goes. Immediately, we're going to lead because I see that he's starting to climb up. And the whole time here, I'm keeping my lift vector in lead pursuit, right? So he's climbing up like this, and we're up here, right? Here, I'll make this a little bit easier to see, right? So if he's here, I'm here. We're right here, right? He's climbing up. I'm following with him. And we're just kind of maintaining that position until we start coming back down, right? As soon as this happens, right, this is where we're really starting to cut into the circle. Still fairly neutral. But go ahead, pause, Falcon, right here. I think you caught it. Okay. So I'm looking at this, right? As soon as we got back to that nose to nose, but now we're vertical, right? I'm lower, he's higher, he's coming down, right? I'm thinking of it like this, right? Okay. Here's my plane of motion, right? I'm pointing out this way. And here's his, right? He was up here. We were in a 2. We're neutral. There's my crossing point, right? I'm planning to pre-turn with him right here, right? This is a part of forcing that fight, right? That we want to do, almost redefining the fight immediately from a neutral position into that one circle, right? As soon as we hit right here, I'm like, okay, what are the three things I'm looking at. We've got nose on, right? My nose is pointing at him. His nose is more or less pointing at me. We're at high aspect. What does that mean? Okay, our range is closing in, all right? Our aspect is high, and our closure is also high. Those are the three things I need for a reversal, right? And I'm already slow. I'm already coming up into him, right? I'm in the vertical. He's coming down. He's gaining speed. As soon as I see it right here, I'm like, okay, I'm going to cross. If I continue, I'm going to cross right here. So I'm going to pre-turn that, right? So rather than waiting until I get here, I'm just going to roll it over early and pull into him because I know he's going fast, right? That's cutting into his circle. It's pre-turning, right? And because I know the pitch authority on my plane is going to allow me to do that, I can get away with it, right? So go ahead and play Falcon, right? Pre-turn it. And now look what happens. Now we're downward, still nose to nose, cutting way out in front. You see like where my lift vector's at? I'm keeping it out in front of him the entire time or on him, keeping that range nice and close, keeping aspect high, keeping closure high. I'm not giving him any room until we hit here, right? Oh shit, rock in the way. All right, well, he went that way. I'm going the other way. I'm going to keep this nose to nose, but now we don't have line of sight, right? We need to get line of sight back. How are we going to do that? Hey, you know what? Let's cut the circle early. Let's climb over the mountain, right? Get line of sight back. As soon as I do that, go ahead, pause it. Looky there. We've got a guy with his tail to our front, right? We're more or less low aspect to him, right? I'm seeing a lot of burner, very wide, kind of narrow silhouette, but his nose is pointing away. I'm now up high, going around that terrain, let me get a whole bunch of speed back, right? And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm already offensive on here. I can cut right into this person's circle. Like, this is exactly what I want, right? I got a lot of range. I'm outside of his turn circle. I got plenty of energy. If I want to, I could go in for a shot right here, but I've got pretty much everything in my own playing field, right? From here, I've got all the range I want, all the speed I want, all the energy I could ever ask for. I can set this fight up however I want. So go ahead, Go ahead, Falcon. As soon as I do that, roll into him, right? He breaks line of sight again. I'm going to stay up high. I'm going to stay up high until I can see him again. Start pulling in. As soon as I see this image here, I'm like, okay, I got enough speed, right? Closure's looking good. Yank in. Shots out. Go ahead, pause it. Questions or anything you guys want to see again or want re-explained? Nothing?
Wasn't I doing when we were dogfighting earlier,
Mm-hmm.
I was in the Sukhoi, you were in the F-14. What could try to gain a little bit more altitude while we were in a two circle together, and you were also following along with me? How would I try and force myself out of out of something like that?
Like when you're in that Sukhoi, right, and we get into that vertical rate, you know, I mean, the 14, at least in that world, is always going to shine, all right? Like flat rate, Sukhoi can hang and even win. You know, it's got the performance for it. But vertical, if you get into that sustained vertical fight, F-14 is going to win because it's holding its energy a lot better. It's holding a more consistent circle around it, even up at the top, right? But what I'd say, right, because the flanker can get fast, right, is up here, right, you're coming up. Hold on to that energy, right? Obviously, you know, don't get too wide on your circle, right? Because you get too wide, it's like, oh, you create a bunch of angle off, and now this guy's going to pull in, he's going to get lead on you and start shooting you, right? But hold enough speed to where once you get up to that top and that guy follows you up, if you've got enough range between you or the geometry is really awkward, right? Like here we are at the top of the circle. You can displace the placement of your lift vector as they're coming up to the top, right? Roll it over, keep it on or in front of them, right? Because the Sukhoi loves sitting, really, really slow. And now that they're at the top, they're already going to be pretty slow too. Roll it over with them, Now, like, if they're all the way out here, right? Like, let's say you're all the way across the circle and you're here, and then you try to do it, like you're doing it way too early.
That's basically what me and you were.
Oh, yeah, no. If you're like this, it's way too early. You got to be able to recognize timing, right? Position and nose position and energy state, right? Like, you're slow.
Yeah.
And you're coming around. Now you're up here, he's down here, and you're like, oh, I'm super slow. I'm not getting enough speed around the bottom. And this person's just holding on to their energy, right? And then they come up to the top, they get that sharp turn in. It's like, okay, well, now we got to start building some energy back up. Or what you could do, right? You're coming down right here. You start offsetting, right? Like while this person's coming up, they can't pull as tight as you. Start offsetting, pull as you come down. and start narrowing
Yes.
that range between you and your opponent, get an offset going. And then eventually, if you can get enough of an offset to where you're passing almost canopy to canopy or even close right, then you can start reversing your turn, because now you're denying them turning room to try and get a shot on you. And because of the Sukhoi's pitch authority, right, you could probably just yank in and get your nose on them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I also found it interesting how you explained big video, like second turn, just after merge, where it was basically even like you're down here, up here, basically nose to nose is more or less pointed towards you, and the way you kind of, I guess, kind of set up he's gonna be and where you're gonna be, where y'all are gonna, where you like kind of turn behind him and you follow him down. That point in the video, I found that.
I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know what point you're talking about. So he was up here like this. He's coming down, and I'm sitting like this, right? And we got all this range between us, right? And I know that my aircraft, like I'm already slow.
My first thought was to not do what you said. My first thought was to extend a little bit and then get a little bit more altitude out of it, not immediately just turn after.
I mean, you can, right? But if I'm in an aircraft that heavily prefers the one circle against one that likes the two circle, that's what he wants.
Oh, right.
'Cause if I extend right here, I'm creating a bunch of angle off. I'm widening my circle out, and yeah, maybe I'm getting faster. I'm retaining more energy. But now he can just start ripping around the bottom of that circle
already, yeah,
and align yourselves, right? Like the one thing that, rate fight, when you're doing asymmetric fights, right, and you're in an aircraft that likes a rate fight or a nose fight, right, or sorry, not a nose fight, a radius fight, that one circle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, what do I want? Do I want stability or do I want crazy offset? One circle fighter, it wants this offset, right? Like you get into a two circle and you got offset like this, and you're passing by each other. That one circle fighter can just fucking, reverse his turn, right? Like if you close that range between your aircraft down and your circles, like you're right here, and you come in and here's your offset, and you continue this way, and this guy reverses it on you, it's like, oh well, shit, right? Because if you don't immediately react, it's like, oh shit, now I'm in a one circle fight. Whereas if you're in a two, right, if you're in that energy fighter or whatever, right, you have a better turn rate, and you got something like this, it's like, okay, cool, track is aligned, I just got to get around it faster than this guy, and guess what, I have the better rate, so I already can.
Mm-hmm.
And great, I mean, offset can be good in a rate fighter too when you're going up against something that prefers the one circle as well. But if it's early on, like it's neutral or they're even just semi-defensive, if they're getting to the point to where you're still passing at high aspect, that's where they can do stuff in response, right? That's where they can respond and redefine the fight. But the longer the fight goes on and you get lower and lower in aspect, like let's say you're right here, right? Like you still got an offset, but this guy's over here now instead of right there, right? He's beating you around that circle already. The further and further he gets behind you, the harder it's going to be, because now it's like, okay, I can no longer afford to bleed all that speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or just all willy-nilly, because that's going to cost you rate, right? Like, oh, okay, I've just bled it down, I got instantaneous, but now I'm slower. And if I extend, right, to get faster, I'm giving up rate. I'm giving up degrees per second. If this guy's just holding, it's like, cool, you've just slowed down your lap while he's maintaining that fast one. And then it's like, okay, cool, oh, we're still offset, I could do something. No, not if he's behind you, right? Like if his circle's here and like this guy's is here, this guy moves along this way, and this guy starts coming in, he starts seeing you come into the canopy, it's like, all right, I'm going to bleed some speed right here, right at this point, just after, I've crossed his circle here. I'll draw it out. Right, so... Yeah, you gotta love that, right? Like you draw a perfect circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, try doing that on a chalkboard. Right, we're right here, and I've crossed in front of him, right? Like I'm like, oh hey,
that would not be in this guy's favor.
Yeah, no, not at all. Right? Like take this guy over here, align him. It's like, okay, yeah, he is still winning, but he doesn't have the lead for a gunshot. But put him back in his circle that's misaligned. It's like, oh, hey, all I got to do is a small bleed down, right? A small energy exertion. And now I've got enough lead. I've got a line of sight on this guy. I can shoot him. Right? That's how offset can can hurt you whenever you're like that, right? So
About there,
you got to be wary of that. If you're gonna try to work offset when you're defensive, you need to do it quick. You need to recognize, okay, hey, I'm defensive, and I need to do something about it very quickly, right? Because and Ben's talked about this a lot before too. When you're defensive, the longer and longer you wait, or the longer and longer it takes you to react or do something about it, the more and more that window to defend yourself or redefine the fight closes, and your options become more and more limited. There's another video, another BFM Breakdown video that we've got. I think it was like week 14 with Typhoons that has a great example of this, where like I started defensive, my opponent, like we went down into the raid after I bled a bunch of speed, got to rate band, made this huge offset, and then redefined the fight. We could go over that like another day, but that's just an example, a hypothetical of what you can do. Any other questions, concerns?
I guess one thing.
Yeah, what's up?
At what point is there just nothing you could have the 15 could have done? Because I know that last point was like he was too slow but still pulled vertical.
So like he could have still done something. Right, like
as soon as you lost eyesight,
it goes into that discussion of your window closing, right? Like it's a very narrow window. I could have missed that shot, right? We were still at fairly high aspect, and if he had pulled in, we were still pretty neutral, or could have been pretty neutral, right? But because my plane has a little bit more performance at lower speeds, got a little bit better pitch authority, it just pulled in for that gunshot, right? But if I missed, that was all my speed, right? That guy could have extended away, gone to lag, and then just ripped around the circle and completely messed my day up.
And I believe also the F-15 didn't immediately want to cut into the circle when y'all's like the obstruction of the mountain.
That goes back into line of sight, right? So hey, Falcon, can you go ahead? Let's go back over that real quick. Can you scroll us back to the point in the fight where the 15 and the MiG, they were in that roller, and then it ended up getting obstructed by that mountain. I think it's like halfway between where it's at now and the start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I think right. Yeah, right here. This is a good spot. Go ahead and play it. All right, a little bit early on. That's okay. If any, while we're waiting for it to come up, if there's anything else you see that doesn't make sense, just bring it up. We can pause it and we'll talk about it. I think it's right about here. Yeah, right here when we start going downward. Probably within like the next 3 turns or something. Right? So here's that spot where we recognize, oh, hey, an overshoot's about to happen.
That's where I saw, yeah.
Yep, let's pre-turn it, and now we're still nose to nose. I'm going to sit inside this guy's circle. Still, for the most part, staying in lead because I want closure to be high, I want aspect to be high. You can see
right there's
sometimes
probably where I would have wanted
it shifts. All right, but right here, this is what you're talking about when line of sight gets broken. So he goes off that way, I go off this way. Line of sight gets broken. The F-15 in this case ended up turning around, right? It came back the other way because it thought that I stayed there, right? But I committed. Honestly, like if they had stayed there, it would have been just a neutral pass, and they could have probably forced rate fight, or I would have had to try to work to force that one circle again. But they turned around again, right? Like they went off that way.
They try and make it a one circle. They try and make it a one circle around the mountain.
Well, I mean, it would be a one circle around the mountain, but it would be a neutral pass. At least then you'd see the guy. But instead, my opponent like turned around. Go ahead, pause it, Falcon. But instead, you saw when I came up over that mountain, right? So let's just say here's our mountain, right? Here's us up here. We cut that circle, and here's our guy, right? Like we were looking down at him. We could see the burner and everything else, right? Like from this point, like I got line of sight first. And I also had winning cues already, so I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm already up high, and I was fast while I was up high. I'm like, I'm just gonna pull in, right? Like there was at that point, I don't think there was anything they could have done to stop me from getting offensive there. And
yeah, that was definitely like a no return point.
And then like as they came up, it's like okay, I started off faster. I rode my energy, back up, and we're both slow. He's slow, but I've got better pitch authority. So this is like he's a slow stationary target. This is where I'm going to try to go for that kill, right? Because I got a stable target to shoot at.
At that point, what do As soon as you saw the F-15, at what point, what could have the F-15 have done if he realized that, oh shoot, he's above me?
So with all that space, right? Like they're already coming down and everything, and they committed upwards back towards me. I honestly think a better idea, right? Because I came back down on top of them, was keep that speed, go back around that mountain again, break line of sight, and then break in, right? Like,
Okay.
because I got line of sight first and I was able to maintain line of sight, it's like, okay, I can make good choices here, right? I can see aspect, I can see closure, I can see all that stuff, right? But if they break line of sight, right? If I'm on this side of the mountain and this guy's coming over here, he's holding on to his speed, and I turn around on him, right? And I could be slow, but if he comes around and he's not expecting me to be nose to nose, it's like, oh shit, right? That could be a wake up call, because one, he might be too fast. He might be coming around too fast to get his nose on to shoot, right? Ideally, you come around that mountain like this, right? Nose to nose. So that way, even if he's shooting at you, you shoot at him. But now that we're nose to nose, he can either continue. He could continue around that mountain. It's like, okay, cool. I'm just going to continue it this way too, right? Or maybe I'll come up over the mountain, right, to keep us nose to nose. Try to keep us nose to nose. Or he could try to turn away from the mountain so he keeps line of sight with me, but because we already did that neutral pass, it's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm just going to turn with you. Right? Like, all those little things. It's like, even though we've broken line of sight, I'm still planning. It's like, I'm going to come up over this mountain. If I see him, then, oh, yep, there he is. His nose is facing away. Let's go down and get him. Or, coming up over that mountain. Oh, shit, there's his nose. Well, I'll just pull it. Like, as he's pulling up, I'll pull in, right? And maybe get a snapshot off or something. And because, I got more pitch authority in the MiG, I'm already slow up here. Pull past his nose as he goes by. And maybe he goes up over, or he tries to follow me down or whatever. I'm going to break line of sight again. Like, there's so many things that you could do, in like a hypothetical situation. Big thing is, get line of sight as soon as you can, because I think that's honestly what cost him there, was that I got line of sight first and I was in an offensive position, right? So that was just like a double decker of trouble for this guy. But yeah, what's up, Sonny?
It's like you said before, planning in the future. You can also, when you lose the sight, you can plan ahead what your opponent's going to do. It from multiple directions he's going to do.
You can make a prediction, right? So, and that first one, right, we go down, like I see him break off into this side of the mountain. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what? I'm going to go this way, right? We both, now neither of us have line of sight on each other. We can see each other on the radar, but we can't tell which way we're going, right? I'm going to come around this because I know, okay, if he commits to this side, right, we're going to come out nose to nose with one another. And I'm okay with that. Or, and like you saw here, they'll turn around thinking I committed the other way and give up position, right? And in this case, like I think they turned around. They may have done a vertical on the other side of the mountain, came back down as I was coming up over the top. Right, but it's like, okay, cool. I watched the direction that this guy broke off in. I'm going the opposite way. There's a mountain between us. Neither of us are going to be able to shoot each other until we get to the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if he turns away,
that thought process.
Yeah, no. But and the same thing is, risk assessment. It's like if he turns away at all, tries to go the opposite way, even if we get into that rate, we're going so fast. It's like I can just climb up over that mountain and follow him down. You know what I mean? So,
it
goes into that planning ahead, if that makes sense. Anybody else? Questions?
I just want to make sure.
Anything that didn't make sense?
That Ninja Man, you were happy with the answer you received? And all good?
Yeah, that works.
Because it kind of, yep, cool. Because it kind of,
Yeah, no, I can get to
flowed into like several questions. I want to
fast.
make sure the original questions was answered properly too, and to a satisfactory
It
standard.
looked like okay.
Yeah.
It looked like adjusting the lift vector
Yeah.
and flight path was really important. Should that be done using roll? What would happen if you used? It kind of got cut off. Tiohu, it says use the. I'm guessing the mountain is what you're saying, right? I mean, yeah, adjusting your flight path is important, right? That's why. If you go back to it, right, like you saw me going around that mountain, and then when I came out on the other side and I didn't see him, I was like, okay, we're going over the mountain now, because it's like if I'm over the mountain, I could see him, right? And that ended up helping me out a lot. Because like if in doubt, if he goes up over the top, like if I go over the top of this mountain, I have plenty of speed. Doesn't really matter where he's at. I can shift the fight however I want it to, because I've got the range, I've got the speed, and everything else. You know what I mean? Does that answer your question, Tiohu? Yeah, okay. Nodding your head. So Yeah, of course, of course. Any other questions? Okay, cool. We'll go ahead. Let's go ahead and get into this other fight, which I think is starting right now. Go ahead and hit play, Falcon. All right, so same thing, different application, right? Go into the merge, holding on to our speed, and go ahead and as soon as it gets to the fuzzy, pause. Right. Once again, I'm assessing what's going on in this first turn, right? So this time around, I'm seeing less burner. We're a lot closer, right? Like the range between us is much, much more narrow. It's looking, oh, Jesus, I don't want the marker. I want this. Now it's looking a little something like this, right? Like when I'm looking at him and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him and he's looking at me. Oh, man, I love that meme. But I'm seeing a much more narrow silhouette,
Weird Al.
right? I'm seeing way more nose. Still fairly neutral. Like you can see, like my nose is more than likely very, very visible to him. You know, if not, like maybe he's slightly winning in this one. Maybe I'm slightly winning. It looks fairly neutral, but this is more or less what I want, right? Like this really, really tight, awkward geometry between us, right? Like I like this, right? In this one circle fighter, I'm still trying to push that one circle. I like it being tight. I like it being awkward. If I'm way out here, he's just going to hold on to his speed. And again, we're going around the racetrack. But if we're here, I got options, right? At least in the one circle fighter. Go ahead and play, Falcon. So what are we going to do? We already got our lift vector placed above him. He's going up, so I'm going to follow him, right? Maneuvering in relation. Because I did, you see how he's going up? We're continuing to follow up. Now, right now, you can make the argument, oh, you're in a two-circle fight, you're chasing his tail. It's like, yeah, you know, you're right, but because I'm able to sustain much lower speeds, I'm sitting inside of a circle. Like, you see how tight we are? Like, look, it's a very big image. You can probably see it better up there, but it's a very, very big and clear image, right? And my lift vector is constantly staying in lead, right? As soon as I drop the lag, I'm going to, you know, be slow on that bottom end, right? And he can just continue around. So I'm staying in lead, and more or less, right? Like if you were to see this side by side, it looks a little something like this, right? It almost looks like we're side by side with one another, rather than like, you know, one being behind, right? Like that's what we're constantly doing, cutting into the circle, trying to keep that awkward geometry alive until we start peaking in energy, right? To the point to where it's like our jets can no longer climb. And as soon as we recognize this, right, like we get level here, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, okay, yeah, each of these is getting more level. We're starting to get more into that two circle. So I'm going to keep my lift vector out in front of him, right? But then right here, it's like, okay, cool. Let's come down, dive below him, get some energy back, and then we're going to cut right back into him, right? And now that we're going downwards, it's even easier, right? Like I'm going to keep that lift vector into lead and pure pursuit. I'm going to keep this nice and tight and squeeze him out front. And with each one of these turns, you see him getting further and further out front, keeping my lift vector out front. Go ahead and pause, Falcon. See, like right here, he's right here, right? And my lift vector is right here.
Yeah, you have a clear
And
line where you can meet.
Well, this is what I'm doing. I'm constantly cutting into his circle, right? The moment I give him space and stability, right? That's where you know, the aircraft that like the rate fight, that's where they're going to start shining, right? It makes it very easy for them to stabilize and start getting around that circle. But if I keep it right here, right? Like, let me associate this, right? If I keep him right here and I keep myself in the, oh, Jesus is upside down. And I keep myself in that lead pursuit, constantly cutting into his circle, there's not really anywhere you can go until you hit the deck, right? Like we've climbed up very, very high. And the nice thing is because I'm using gravity now, like I can pretty much pull in as much as I want. As long as I'm not stalling the aircraft, my minimum speed is way lower than his. He's going to get way more speed coming down than I will. And eventually, right, it'll turn into this, right? As he's coming down, like I'm pulling in, we'll automatically get that lead as time goes on, right? It's very hard to get out of this when you're locked into it, right? Like you start that downward and someone's cutting into your circle. It's super freaking annoying. Again, it's important to recognize it sooner rather than later, right? Like if you recognize that sooner, it's like, okay, we're both slow, but I'm at the top of a circle. Now I'm going to come down, go to lag or deep lag and take them into a vertical rate, right? But if you commit downwards, and that guy's got way more pitch authority than you do, like you're stuck there, dude.
I remember, yeah.
There's very little you can do to get out of that. Again, that defensive window narrows, and it narrows very, very quickly. in situations like this.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, hit play again, Falcon. And you'll see, like, with each turn, here, I'll get rid of this effect for drawing. With each of those turns, we get closer and closer until eventually, pull in, you get a snapshot off, right? It wasn't immediate. Like, it's one mistake you see a lot of people do, even as they're coming down. They commit way too much, right? They try to get that one snapshot off, and it's like, oh shit, now I'm so slow that I can't follow on. That guy just breaks away, comes back up into a vertical with you, and now that fight's neutralized, right? So even in a radius fight like that, it's like, oh, I know I can beat this guy. You know, take your time with it, get yourself nice and stable. Make sure you can actually get that shot off. Questions? Comments?
I normally I fly the a flanker where I would fly at a slightly slower speed, but always cut into the circle to try and always push a guy out front. And it does work. It does work, but the window can be, since you have like a really big, like a time limit before you get to the deck. The window's very short.
Well, you gotta think of it like this, right? Every single time that, even defensively, right? Every single time someone goes to pull for a shot, they're taking a gamble, right? They've now changed all the variables of fight. Now, aspect is higher, range is increased, closure is increased, and range is rapidly decreasing, right? And it's costing them energy. You know, it's like, oh, I pulled in here, shot, oh, but I missed, and now I'm only doing 100 knots. This guy held on to his speed, and it's like, oh, no, he's running away from me. I'm slowly regaining my speed, right? But because you're starting off slow, your circle's super wide, and then this guy's just racing around. It's like, oh, there we are. Right, that guy held on to his rate. He got around that circle super fast while I was trying to, you know, get my speed back. And now, even if he overshoots, like, you know, oh, he overshot, but I'm still slow. I'm going to reverse into him. It's like, okay, cool. This guy's just going to hold on to his speed, outrun that nose, and take you right into that vertical rate. And it's like, well, you already started out slow on the bottom, and you went vertical with the guy. Now you're just going to be perpetually slow. He's going to hold on to his speed and eventually just get right back around, right? Like, long game rate fighters are going to win. Short game is where your radius fighters are going to shine. Unless you get into an extended, you know, roller or an extended flat, then yeah, your radius fighters are going to win. But as soon as you start running out of altitude and airspeed, which will happen in the long game, right? The longer a fight goes on, the more energy deprived you're going to become, you know, as you're trying to maneuver your aircraft, the more it's going to go in favor of that guy who's in the better rate fighter, right? As long as he's holding on to his speed. It makes sense to everybody?
Yes.
Any other questions? Anything you want to go back over? No? Everybody's good? Okay, cool. Well, let's put some of it into practice. I hope hope you guys...
Just as a side thing, before we started, Roro Uncle Productions over here did have a question about missile defense and whatnot, which may not pertain exactly what we were talking about here, but it is a part of it, and they were interested in it, so...
Wait, who's it? What, masked Avatar or who?
No. This one.
Oh, okay. So okay, yeah. So you were asking about missile
tips, you know, just give them a hand.
Okay. So in some worlds, right? Some worlds have notching that's a little bit more prominent than others, right? So, like, let's say this is my missile. You know, here's my plane. I mean, which one goes faster? It's a missile, right? Missile's always going to go faster. You know, whenever you're trying to notch it, or notch probably isn't even the right term. Crank it's probably the better one. It glitters somewhere out there yelling at me right now for using wrong.
We're definitely more in the BFM side of things, but
yeah, no, he's losing his he's losing his mind right now. But you can essentially outturn the missile, right? It's like, okay, I'm fast. You know, like when you get slow, that's where a missile's going to have an easy time, right? Because compared to the missile, you're just sitting still, right? Like, let's say, oh, I'm at 200 knots. This thing's doing, I don't know, 1,200. I don't know how fast a missile exactly goes. You know, it's correcting itself and everything, but you're a slow target to it. It's just going to smack right into you, right? But if you're fast, right, let's say 400 knots, right, and you're sustaining it, it's like, yeah, that missile can correct for it. But because it's going so much faster, you know, it has to bleed all that speed down. You could pretty much outturn it, right? because it has to pull lead. It's like, oh, here's my 400 knot turn. It's pulling lead, pulling lead, pulling lead. And eventually, like you either outrun it because it's bled so much energy trying to keep up in that turn, or it can't keep up in that turn, right? It's like, yes, a missile can turn very, very tightly, but if it's going 1,000 knots, you know, and you're doing 400, it's like, okay, cool, it is going faster than me, but my turn circle is so much smaller and so much tighter that it just can't keep up, right? Like kinematically. Or other things that you can do, right? This is a good one. Using terrain, right? Like, let's say here's a hill. Maybe here's another hill, you know, and I got some guy in the F-14 lobby, right? I'm in the mountains of the F-14 lobby. You know, here, I'll draw it better. Here's the carrier, right? Here's that mountainous side. This guy's over here. He's launching missiles at me, and I'm up here, right? It goes back into missiles needing to pull lead. Now, here in VR chat, they go to pure pursuit, right? Like, it looked it up and everything. But they still have to follow you, right? So if this guy launches a missile from right here, and I immediately react, right? I start coming down, guess what? It's going to come down with me, right? Because it's trying to catch up with me. Now, I could get to the top of this hill, right? And if I'm really, really fast, right, that missile's doing its calculations and everything, guess where it's going to go? Right into that hill, even though I haven't even gone to the bottom of it. I mean, better off, just go to the bottom of it, right? Put yourself between, put this, you know, this hill between you and the missile. That way it runs into the hill. But if all
so
else
many
fails,
times
right,
I've underestimated just how fast some of these missiles are.
you can
they
do this.
ended up hitting me just before I hit it.
You can do the same with flat ground too, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Like, here's the deck. You know, if you're going fast enough and that missile has to pull enough lead, if you're going down towards the ground, you can lead it right into the ground and then pull back up. You know, it is possible. But your best defense, right, at least in the game, is just your countermeasures, your flares. Like, if you
during the
as soon as you get
example you just showed, turn rate radius is also a problem there, because if you get too close to the ground, you can't pull up fast enough.
I mean, that's fine and everything. If I'm starting way up here and I'm going like 500 knots or something, like, these planes can turn on a dime almost.
Like, yeah, if you're like higher,
it's gonna hit the ground.
Yes,
if I'm going
really
fast
low to
enough,
the ground, yeah, you're not gonna be able to.
And we got enough range. I'm going towards the ground. It's gonna hit the ground before I do.
Yeah, but if
in doubt,
you started low, and they're like also like level with you, it's gonna be.
I mean, yeah. If I started low, like right here,
yeah,
and this guy shoots a missile. Doesn't matter how low I'm going to get to the ground. I'm already so low to where this thing's like, oh, I just got to do a little bit. Like, it's going to follow me down. I'm talking like you get range between you, right? But the best defense is, again, your countermeasures. Typically, like with most SAC flight worlds, 10 will make any missile go dummy.
Also, removing your afterburner.
So after the missile is launched, like I don't know, I haven't tested it too much myself, but after the missile's launch, more often than not, really doesn't matter. But it will help you when they're locking, right? Like, you hear that bee-doo, wee-doo, wee-doo, right? Like, you know someone maybe they already shot a missile at you. And again, let's say there's a hill right here.
5 seconds.
Right. Like, you countermeasured one missile, you're down here below the hill, you cut your burner and come back up, and that guy starts locking you. Yeah, if your burner is cut, it's going to take him longer to get a lock onto you. And then if he's got his burner on, you can just force feed him one. Right, you would not believe how often that happens to people. Like, why can't I lock onto you? Why can't I lock onto you? It's taking forever.
If y'all are facing each other, in like a head-on, and you turn off your afterburner and lock someone with a Fox 2 and shoot immediately,
they wonder
why. Oh wait, why can't I shoot it back at you?
I like to cut all power, with a way lower chance of getting locked.
I mean, that's a double-edged sword at the same time. Again, I don't know if after the missile's launched, if cutting it is going to do it. But let's say you do evade it, it's like, okay, cool. This guy's burner is now cut, and now you've just merged, and this guy he's full burner. You know who's going to get around first on offensive? This guy, because he's holding on to his speed. He's got more power going into it, right?
Unless you have your flaps down, that sometimes helps with turn rate, depending on the world.
I mean, it definitely does, especially in the F-14 world, but it really doesn't matter, because if this guy doesn't have his burner on, you know who's going to turn faster? This guy with the burner. He's going around that track faster. This guy might have a tighter turn, but guess what? Like, he's got way less speed. He has to widen out his turn because now he's got less power from his engines, right? That kinetic versus potential energy.
What I do normally when I merge is, instead of like turning right, I tend to pull up and then go right into turning like up and then into them. That's what I like to do sometimes.
I mean, to each their own, but I wouldn't base it off of like a plan.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I know every single time I'm going to come up and go to the right, right?
Yeah,
Like,
not every
you do that
single
enough
time.
times,
Like, most of the
you
time
do
I
that
know
enough
when to come
times,
up,
people
yeah.
are going to get wise to it. It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
know he's going to do this, right?
You
I'd
you wanna
encourage you, right? You go into the merge and
Mhm.
immediately observe what the other person is doing. Recognize your energy state, how much room's between you. It's like, oh, maybe he pre-turned a little bit. Now he's sitting up here or something, or maybe he pre-turned a little bit. You're sitting like this. It's like, okay, taking all those variables and plan based off of your immediate observation, because things can change so quickly and so rapidly that you could get hit with something you've never seen before, and it's like, whoa, what did this guy just do, right? Like, you go up into a merge, they hold on to their energy. It's like, oh, okay, I beat them, they got a shot off, and then you try to reverse your turn to go up with them, and because they held on to all their speed, they're just like, right? They yank it all in because now they've got their engines on, they've got gravity helping them out, and it's like, whoa, what did this guy just do, right? Where'd all that come from? Best to do it, obviously going with a plan, but best to do it also in relation with what your opponent's doing, in the moment.
Or sometimes, if you're close enough to the city, you can just weave through the buildings to get the missile off of you as well.
I mean, yeah, that's
that
that's
comes
a
down
way,
to-
but
I thought the countermeasures in
It
VR
really
chat
comes
would
down
like
to
just
your
affect.
precision and not hitting
No,
the buildings
they
as well,
work.
though, so.
They do work.
They do work, yeah.
Yeah, no, they do.
But yeah, you can go. You could use buildings to block a city, but it's like, okay, cool. Now you're
it's the same,
widened
it's the
out.
same
This guy's
principle as
Yeah.
terrain masking before.
Yeah, it
instead of
also
running a
it
missile
really
into the
depends on your
ground, you're
skill
just
to
terrain
evade the
masking.
buildings.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like,
you have
okay,
to
this
worry
guy-
about if
well,
you're
no,
doing
it's like
buggies,
this guy.
and shit,
Look,
your
this isn't
opponent.
gonna be an open discussion, but it's like, this guy's sitting down here in the buildings, and he's like, yeah, I'm avoiding his missiles, but I'm up here. He's sitting in the same spot. All right, you know what? I'll just come up over the buildings and lob one down on his head. Right? Like, that's going to increase the chance. Or because he's following a linear track, it's like, all right, I'm just going to watch what he's doing and find a point to just follow him in and slot in on his 6, because now his turn circles are super wide. He's either too fast, too slow, or anything like that, and I'm going to gun the guy.
Yep.
Because he's
Mhm.
basically giving up his 6 to me.
To get missiles off of you, you can also go underneath the bridges. I wouldn't recommend the tunnels. The
This is
tunnels
still
do not work.
terrain. That's
Yeah, that's
Sometimes you can go
that's
underneath
just,
the
that's
bridges
just
to get the
using
missiles
terrain.
off of you.
That's just
Yeah,
using terrain
yeah.
as cover.
Yeah.
Same
No,
thing.
It's a good idea.
But-
Like, it works.
It really
Right.
does depend on your
But,
skill
yeah,
for these methods,
you-
though.
But if you, go ahead.
Yeah, go
Back
ahead.
to the missiles. The Fox 2s are short range missiles. They are pretty much honed into the afterbursts. If you pull your throttle back and deploy flares, it depends on the distance too. So if you pull back the throttle with flares, the missile will be dummied to the flares only. Or
I'm definitely up to try it out, but I don't think that the missiles go that deep. It's from what
No,
I've understood, at least from what Seven said, it's just all it is just the same thing as that Phoenix with a little bit of more turning ability and slightly different lock time.
what I meant to say
Or
is
sometimes
when
you can also lead
it depends
your
on the
enemy
distance.
over to the AA.
It
AA
usually
island.
It depends on the distance, how far your opponent is, and where the either they're going to fire. Let's say it's only a Fox 2 short range missiles. If they fire pretty much at a far distance, if you cut your throttle and with flares at the same time as they launch, the missile will technically go through the flares, and you'll don't have to use many flares. There's a few bursts, and it'll go. I've seen that several times that I tried it out. It does work. It's like a 30% chance if it works.
I don't know if it works as well as, like, I've seen a lot of people try it, especially in the flankers. Like, people who are super, like, they'll cut their burner and then do some yoinky spoinky bullshit, and then the missile just
Hey, that's mine.
it'll smack right into them. Right? Like, if in doubt, use your countermeasures. Your countermeasures are a guaranteed way to defend against a missile.
5 or 6
Another thing,
flares.
another thing
very
is
rapidly, and then
pre-flaring. Another thing is pre-flaring, right? Like, you hear that lock tone, that wee doo wee doo wee, that slow lock tone first, and you see that guy like looking at you, and you know he's about to shoot. Start flaring before he shoots. Pre-flaring is a thing, right? And it's very
And it
effective.
works
Like, a
in
lot of
this- it
like
does
a
actually
lot
work.
of oh yes, it does work. A lot of people will be like, oh, that
Okay.
person's flare spamming, and then watch their missile fly by, and it's like, oh, here, catch.
Yeah.
And you throw
Yeah.
you throw them one, they start flaring after, and then they're wondering why. Oh, why am I catching all these missiles, but this person? It's like, well, pre-flare. That's why.
Yeah, I knew flea flipping was a thing, but I didn't realize just how effective it was.
It's very
And like,
If you're say you're in
with
like
people.
a guns only dogfight and they're like on your ass, you can't get them off no matter what you do. Sometimes I would like to just pull into that that anti-air island and by the city, around near the city,
you're
I
putting
mean, that's
yourself in a
cool,
big
but
Sometimes they
like,
break off
if
before they get- you get
it
close
kills
enough.
them, like if they commit, it's going to kill you both. If they don't commit, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you're
I mean,
faced away. Now
unless
they've
somehow
broken
you
off.
manage to avoid all of their bullets somehow. I mean,
I
it
wish you
literally
luck.
is just
I do
AI,
wish you
so
luck
it's
in
not.
that
It's
endeavor.
they do
Good
really
luck.
aren't the best at aiming.
I prefer the city.
Yeah, I would prefer the
Honestly,
city as well.
your
prefer
best
performing
defense,
my best
honestly, is just
BFM.
to not be defensive.
Yeah.
that-
Oh, when it comes down to it, either city or the island, I'd prefer the city.
I mean, like also if you hear that lock tone as well, like not the missile tone, just the lock tone, you can also just like land on the ground and they lose the lock completely.
I mean,
then
that's
there's
fine,
also
but
a
if
chance of
they're
strafing
adamant
as
on
well.
shooting you, it's like if you want to land, that's cool, but now they can strafe you if
Bomb
they
you,
want to. If they
strafe
want
you,
to.
Yeah, they can strafe you now.
Strafe, bomb, rocket pods, many more.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, there's always a
But-
countermeasure to anything you do.
I mean, to an extent. To an extent.
To an extent, yeah.
But any other questions, comments, or everybody ready to go do some fights? All right, sick. I hope you all are okay with the Griffin because that's what we're going to be using today.
All right.
As long as it's not Chinese.
Yeah,
baby,
Swedish. Very fun.